John 7:38. Qui credit in me, sicut dixit scriptura, flumina de ventreus fluent aquae vivae. He who believes in me, just as the scripture said, streams of living water will flow from his heart. We will say for now. Now, as we get into our annotations on the Latin of this verse, we might as well start there with ventre. Some of you may recognize this word as a form of venter. This is a masculine noun of the third declension. It generally means your stomach, your belly, the lower, biggest cavity of your body. Here, though, we have to be careful not to take it too literally. Oftentimes, and those of you who are familiar with the Greek New Testament will know this already, oftentimes for the ancients, the seat of certain emotions or feelings or thoughts in the body, as it was imagined to be, were not the same as the way that we talk about thoughts and feelings and emotions originating in the body, which can result in some ridiculous situations. I once heard a pastor reading from the King James Version of the Bible by accident. I think he thought he had a more modern version in his hand when he went up to do a reading, and he found himself talking about the bowels of mercy, which in the 17th century in England was a perfectly intelligible phrase in terms of bodily metaphors, but it's not anymore in the 21st century. And needless to say, the congregation was a little bit confused. So different cultures, different people at different times talk about the relationship between the body and the immaterial feelings or sensations or thoughts of what we now would call the mind or the heart in different ways, and this is one of those cases. So what we say here, how we translate this, should be more in keeping with 21st century idiom if we want to communicate with 21st century people. So we'd probably say, and many translations do say, heart, but really it's not heart, it's the venter. And the word in Greek is even a little bit more ambiguous. It just means the big cavity inside your body. Otherwise, we can note this phrase, sicut dixit scriptura. Now, the connection between this and what comes before isn't necessarily going to be immediately clear to you. He who believes in me, just as the scripture said. Well, what does the scripture say about a believer? It says, and eos is the key to making this connection here. It says, streams of living water will flow, and again, notice the indicator of the future tense here. This is a third conjugation verb, fluo, fluere, fluxi, fluxum. We need to notice that these waters, or streams rather, of living water are going to flow from, let's say, his heart, that is the heart of this qui that we had in the first clause. So sicut dixit scriptura in English, we would say this in a less compressed way. We wouldn't say, he who believes in me, just as the scripture said. We would say, he who believes in me will be, just as the scripture described, one from whose heart streams of living water will flow.